Welcome back to the Fight Pit, ladies and gentlemen. It is so good to be back. We never left. We here every single week, every single fight card. We got you. Today we are covering UFC Fight Night, Moreno versus Albazi, going down Saturday, November 2nd in Edmonton, Canada. Intro music. What up, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you guys for joining us once again in the Fight Pit. It is the boys in the house. We are here covering UFC Fight Night, Moreno versus Albazi. Looking to be a sweet card. It's a hangover card. We're recovering. We will get into that in just a second. Let's get some intros real quick for anybody who's new. We got Shaboy Drew, aka Thug Droz, over yonder. We got Gaugeamus Maximus, the 12 gauge himself. And if you were wondering, his balls are still hot, ladies and gentlemen. His balls are once again hot. Gage, how you doing today, my brother?
Good. Big things coming up this week. I almost stole your name on the intro because I knew what you were going to be today. It's a Thug Rose card. I already know what's coming.
Yep.
And I almost came to this episode dressed as you for Halloween, but missed my chance.
It wouldn't be tough, dude. It wouldn't be tough. Just try to look as douchey as possible. It's a pretty sweet look. It's pretty easy. I don't sweat getting ready in the morning. Downstairs, we got the boys. We got Matt Talks MMA. Matt, how are you today, brother?
Doing good. Excited to be on this episode today.
We're excited to have you, as always. And cannot forget, last but certainly not least, Sean Ryan Sports. Sean, how you doing today, my brother?
Heartbroken. Very heartbroken over 308 and the Yankees getting their ass handed to them.
This is going to be a cope episode, folks. This is going to be a very, very heavy cope episode. We have a few things that we are all dealing with. We're going to give you our best. We're going to always put our best foot forward, but just know that we are crying on the inside. Before we get too deep into it, we got to give a shout out to our wonderful sponsor, Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats online ticket marketplace where fans can buy and sell tickets to sports, concerts, and theater events nationwide. Reliable and rewarding tickets. They have a 100% buyer guarantee, the only ticket rewards program around. Vivid Seats believes there is nothing quite like being there. They are committed to getting you to the events you love more easily and more often. They have 1 million plus unique and in-demand events that have been sold on their site. They also over 19 million plus pump fans that have found their event tickets through Vivid Seats, and over 140 million memory-making tickets sold. So check out vividseats.com. We will have our link right down in the description. You don't even have to go nowhere. You don't have to type nothing. Just hit the link in the description. We'll take you right there. Thank you so much to Vivid Seats for holding it down for the boys in the house. We love you. Now, we have got to face our fears, guys. We have to face our fears head on. We have to conquer them and move forward. UFC 308, we'll recap a little bit on it. It was a fantastic card. It had some highs, it had some lows. We laughed, we cried. We hit the full spectrum of emotions on that one. I'm gonna start downstairs. Let's have Sean. Sean, give us your thoughts on UFC 308. How do you feel? Any big moments that you want to highlight for us?
First, I want to start with, this is the first time in a while all the favorites won on the main card. That one caught me off guard. This was a card that we said all 5 fights, there's a chance the underdog could win. and none of them did. Really odd. One of the ones that we thought were, we don't know who to really pick, and just go with Vegas, I guess. But Robert Whittaker, man, hope you recover soon. Chimaev, you're the real deal. You're the absolute real deal. Like, he made up for the Kamaru Usman fight, like, big time. I wouldn't even be upset if he jumped Sean Strickland. I really wouldn't. As much as that rematch does need to happen, it's a fun fight. I would like Chimaev to be right into the title immediately. And then also, Max Holloway, we all love you. Take some time off. Do not get into another fight right away. The first time you ever got that chin really cracked was take it off. Like, you're still, 33, 34? You're still young enough in this 33. Take a year off and then fight for the BMF belt. Go to 155, move on. 145's done. It is what it is. But congratulations to Ilya Topuria. After you guys all talk, I have a question about Ilya Topuria and another fighter, and I want to see what you guys think.
For sure. And as you stated, 100%, we love Robert Whittaker. We love Max Holloway. We love Dan Ige. We love everybody. Crazy, the entire red corner locker room swept. Very, very rare that happens. And brutal stuff. Seeing that happen to Robert Whittaker, a lot of it, we didn't really know what happened. Seeing afterwards, had his bottom teeth just completely smashed in. But hey, on the bright side, Robert Whittaker, if you're watching this, at least your teeth are still not as jacked up as mine. Matt, let us know, how did you feel about UFC 308? What's the thoughts?
Yeah, it went exactly how I thought it would go. I thought Ilya Topuria was going to win, and he went out there and showed the world that, he has what it takes. He is the next superstar, I believe, and I really don't see anybody in featherweight right now beating him. He'd have to go up and then lose. I just don't see anybody within that weight class giving him any sort of troubles.
I do definitely got to shout out Matt and Sean downstairs. You guys called every single one correctly. Gage and I, we went out on our shields, and that's just how it goes sometimes. We live by the sword, we die by the sword. It's not the first time, won't be the last time, and we're right back on that horse. So be ready, because we're coming. Gage, let us know. Highlights, thoughts,
Pain.
Any regrets?
Nothing but pain. No, unfortunately, what happened to Rob, I would have liked to see that fight go longer. I think Rob, if he doesn't sustain an injury, gets out of the first round. And then I would have liked to see him stand back up, see how Hamzat would have pressured into the second round if the gas tank was going to keep on going, because we know Rob can go for 5 all day. And that's what I was more hoping to see, because we all said when we recorded, if he can weather the first 2-round storm, what it will be. And we say that every time, and just no one gets there. Got to stop banking on getting there when he's just putting people away. So, yep, Hamzat, you are bona fide. You're the real. And honestly, fuck Sean at this point. I'd rather see him versus DDP. Sorry, Sean. Love you, but I'm way more interested in that at this point, which is rare for me to be like, oh, I want to see this wrestler go against DDP instead of, the personality that's Sean Strickland. But it is what it is. Ilya can do what he wants at this point. I'm still going to pick against him when he fights Volk again, just because it's Alexander Volkanovski and I have to. But I would like to see him fight Diego Lopez next after Volk. I think that's if Diego wants to fight in the meantime. Don't know who he'll fight, but I think that's the next fight, and I really don't know how that one would pay off, because that's 2 very well-rounded elite 145ers.
That is the fight. That is the fight. I don't see anything. I don't see anybody jumping over Diego for the next shot. Ilya talked about going and fighting Islam, saying he'd be the first guy to submit Islam. I highly doubt it, but I've been wrong.
He's got to get through Volk first before he gets there. And Volk and then Diego, and then he'll probably get his shot going up to 155.
Agreed. Getting through healthy Volk would change my opinion a lot. But Ilya, you broke my heart. Everybody loved watching it. It's all good. We got to do what we got to do. Not ashamed. Not gonna stop. We keep rolling. That's just the name of the game, baby. And I love this game. So it's gonna take a lot more than that to stop us. Sean, we'll get to your question in a sec. You guys make sure you guys are subscribed to the Fight Pit. Subscribe also to High Fight IQ and Matt Talks MMA. Matt did a live for the UFC 308 event. It was awesome. Loved it. If you guys are into stuff like that, like we are, subscribe to you boys. Subscribe to you boys. We got you. Sean, fire away, brother.
So I was thinking about Ilya Toporia's last two fights. He beats and knocks out Alexander Volkanovski. Yes, he got knocked out 3 months prior. We all said we hated that idea. And then he knocks out Max Holloway, the unbreakable chin. And those two are both in the featherweight GOAT conversation. Has there ever been a fighter that has done a back-to-back performance like Ilya Topuria just did? I have one name that comes to mind, but I want to see if you guys can have anything when it comes to it.
That's a good one. I was thinking about that one too. You might have asked me that already. It's tough, in my opinion, because we had guys like George St. Pierre and Anderson Silva, John Jones, who just cleared out entire generations of fighters. So depending on how you look at it, as far as like back-to-back, I don't think that Volk and Max are quote-unquote in their primes, but very impressive nonetheless.
Connor.
I can't think of anybody off top. Connor would be a good one.
Connor's a good one.
If I had to throw a name into the hat, I would say GSP or Anderson.
Matt, do you got one?
I was gonna say Conor McGregor too. Besides that, I really don't think anybody else. I mean, defeating two GOATs in your weight class, that's just crazy. That's like defeating DC and John Jones at light heavyweight.
Yeah. My answer was Henry Cejudo when he beat Demetrius Johnson. It was by decision, but he did clearly win 3 of those 5 rounds. And then you had TJ Dillashaw come down to 125 to go for the double belt. And TJ Dillashaw looked unstoppable, and he finished TJ Dillashaw in back-to-back fights. That's the only one that I can say that I think.
I think he took out Cruz too after that.
He took out Marlon Moraes and then Dominic Cruz. So he had a 4-fight run there that was just disgusting.
Yeah.
And Ilya, it looks like he could go after Volk again and then Diego Lopez. And then you're like, that's an unbelievable 4-fight stretch too. Like, this question can extend like.
Oh, before we hop off of 308 recap, Matos, Rebecki, and Orobai. What an absolute banger on the prelims.
Mm-hmm.
I said in the chat, Sean predicted that we would have the fight of the year on the UFC 308 card. I think that you're right. But it wasn't the fight that you said. I think that Rebecki and Orobai is, for my money, it's got to be right up there with Islam and Dustin. Not as high profile, but dude, I had no idea how that fight was going at all. That was one of those ones where you kind of feel like the momentum is swinging one way. So you're like, okay, the ball's rolling downhill now, but then it switches and another guy gets the advantageous position, the momentum swinging in his favor. That was bravo to them. They very, They definitely earned fight of the night and possibly fight of the year. Possibly fight of the year.
100%.
Yeah.
Also, I want to highlight on that, who was it here? Renat Fakhretdinov and Carlos Leal. It was early in the morning, but I think that was an absolute robbery. There's no way that Renat Fakhretdinov won that fight. And no, what round would he have won besides maybe the first?
Yeah, some questionable judging, of course, as always. But it was Abu Dhabi. It's happened before. Something that you got to factor into. It's something that you can't really plan for, but it's something you always got to keep in the back of your mind. I honestly, a lot of people were saying that Max Holloway was down 2 rounds before he got finished. I did not.
1-1.
Yeah, I had it at
too.
the very least. At the very least, I had it 1-1. I was able to pull up the official scorecard, and the judges actually gave both prior rounds to Ilia Topuria. So, yeah.
Wow, what the hell was going on with the judges? Bro, you can't leave the judges. You just can't. It's ridiculous.
Yep, it's one of those things, man. One of those things. Very difficult to plan for. Very unfortunate when it works out that way. Worked out for us because we did pick Renat, but, you know, take it for what it's worth. In the words of one Max Holloway, it is what it is.
Brother. Can't forget.
Brada. Brada. Let's shake it off. Shake it off. Okay. All right, moving on. We are going to take a look at UFC Fight Night. Brandon Moreno versus Amir Albazi. I'm going to throw a couple names at you as far as I'm going to throw a banner at you first. David Banner. Boom. There we go. Some prelims to keep an eye on. We got some names on this prelim card that I think are going to be very tempting for you guys. Opening up the night, pretty solid fight. It is Jamie Lynn Horth versus Ivana Petrovic. Jamie Lynn Horth 6-1, Petrovic 7-1. Sweet fight to open it up. Following that, we got Chad Anheliger versus Cody Gibson. 2 vets. I like that one. That one's sweet. I do predict that there's going to be quite a few finishes. I think there might be more finishes than decisions on this one. Given that it is taking place in Canada, don't have to worry too much about people gassing out. Not a trend out there. Canadians fighting in Canada, though. Make sure you take note. Mike
Malott.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely going to let you know about that one too. Sergey Sadeh versus Garrett Armfield. Sergey Sadeh, a Dana White Contender Series alum. He is 10-2, was on a very significant, very long, significant win streak prior to his last fight where he lost by a split decision, I believe. Going up against Garrett Armfield, 10-4. Sweet fight. Dig it. Make sure you're tuned in. Alexander Romanov versus Rodrigo Nascimento. Heavyweights. That one usually could go either way. I do think that one could be a finish. Jack Shore versus Yusuf Zalal. That's going to be a dope one. Make sure you watch that one. Charles Jourdain versus Victor Henry. Oof. I love Charles Jourdain, man. That's going to be a tough fight. Yusuf Zalal, 15-5-1 versus Jack Shore, 17-2. Ariane Lipsky versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. That is a good fight in the women's flyweight division. That one could have some implications going on later on. Somebody on that one is going to get a high-profile fight off that one. And we have women's flyweights co-main in this card too, so we could see some rankings jumps going on. Ayman Zahabi versus Pedro Munoz. That's going to be a good one. Both guys a little spotty. But Ayman Zahabi 11-2. You gotta tune in for that one. tune in for that one. Those are going to be good. And then of course, like we were saying, we got Canadians on this one. Mike Malott, Marc-Andre, Barriault. It's going to be a good card, guys. Canadians in Canada. we're going to cover some. I'm going to take it for the first one. I will keep it brief. It is not going to be difficult to break this one down. We got welterweights Mike Malott versus Trevin Giles. Mike Malott at a 10-2-1. Trevin Giles at a 16-6 record. Mike Malott with 4 KO wins, 6 submission wins, 0 decision wins, and 1 draw. He is coming off of a TKO loss to Neil Magny back in January 20th, on the Strickland Duplessis card. Oh, man, Mike Malott is so difficult to break down on this one, dude. He's so difficult to pick. Trevin Giles, 16-6. He's got 6 KO wins, 5 submission wins, 5 decision wins. He is also coming off of a KO loss against Carlos Pratis in February. Carlos Pratis, oh my gosh, we're going to get to cover him again soon too. This one, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I have to say that the smart money and the betting line is on Mike Malott. I think that the line, I think he's a little over a 2-1 favorite in this one, if I'm not mistaken. He is, yes, Mike Malott currently sitting at a -270, Trevin Giles at a +220. You gotta think, in the words of John Anik, you gotta think that a little bit has to be some home field advantage for Malott. This one, Trevin Giles, these guys are both fantastic fighters, both very well-rounded. They both do have their areas that they favor. Both are dangerous in certain areas. I think that the smart money would be on Mike Malott by a submission, but we did see in his last one against Neil Magny that if you are able to weather the storm, if you're able to outmuscle him, if you're able to get past the first round and a half, he is liable to present you with an opening that you can capitalize on. Trevin Giles has been rattling off some decision wins, but he is susceptible to the knockout or the submission. He has a handful of submission losses in the last 5-6 years or so. My official pick, I am going with Mike Malott money line. I am going to say under 2.5. If you want to play it safe, fight not to go the distance. I'm going to take my bet on this one. I'm going to say fight not to go the distance. All right, next one up, we got middleweight action. I'm going to throw it to Matt, and he's going to let us know about Marc-Andre Barriault versus Dustin Stoltzfus.
Yeah, so we got Marc-Andre Barriault versus Dustin Stoltzfus. I'm going to have to go with Marc-Andre Barriault in this one. He did just get knocked out by Joe Pyfer, but that's not really something to be ashamed about. And Joe Pyfer is super powerful, and he can knock out anybody within the division for sure. As far as Dustin Stoltzfus, he's coming off a brutal knockout from Bruno Ferreira with that double spinning elbow that he did. It was honestly crazy. I don't think that Dustin Stoltzfus is that good of a striker or on the same level as Marc-Andre Barriault. Marc-Andre Barriault has been a lot more active, and I think he's just more of an established fighter. He has a lot more fights than Dustin Stoltzfus, and I ultimately seeing this one going to a decision. If I was going to bet on this, I would say over a round and a half for sure.
I like it. So we got Barriault money line. We got over 1.5, and the bet would be over 1.5 too. Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet. Stoltzfus, dude. Dustin Stoltzfus, dude, I love you, but you got too many consonants next to each other. That is so not cool, bro. So not cool. Making me look like a mush mouth over here. Next one up, we are kicking it across the way to Sean. Sean is going to let us know about the light heavyweights. We got Caio Machado versus Brendson Ribeiro.
This is an interesting fight because Caio Machado is he was once a heavyweight, and if you look online, it says weight of like 250. So I don't know if this is his first fight at light heavyweight. I couldn't figure that out, but it's one of his first fights at light heavyweight because none of the sites have that updated. He's 8-3-1. He has 4 KOs, 2 submissions. He is on a 2-fight losing streak. He's 1-2 in the UFC. If you count the 1 win of being a Dana White Contender Series, I count them so because it is to get into the UFC. He's never been finished, so being once a heavyweight and now being a light heavyweight, never being finished in your 3 losses is always impressive because the bigger you get, the more chance of getting knocked out. He's 6'4", 30 years old, 78-inch reach, well-rounded fighter. He's not the quickest, I will say that, because once again, he was a heavyweight. And that's where I think, even though he's a favorite, he does have big power, definitely moving down to light heavyweight. But Brendson Ribeiro is 15-7, 9 KOs, 6 submissions, pretty damn good power, and could once again another well-rounded fighter. Also a 2-fight losing streak. This is always tough when you get 2 guys on a bad streak. 1-2 in the UFC, same exact scenario. His 1 win was again in the Dana White Contender Series to get in, and then he's lost his 2 fights since then. He got KO'd 3 times and he's been submitted twice. So he can get finished. He's 6'3", 28 years old, and 81-inch reach. So he is an inch shorter, but he has a 3-inch reach advantage. Way better in shape. I will say that. If you look at the 2, you're going to see one guy looks like he's a statue while the other guy looks more like pudding. But still, I like the underdog here. Brendson, he really has extremely good finishability here. With how slow Caio is, he's not a fast fighter whatsoever, and I think that will be taken advantage of. I think they're relying on him being able to take him down and hold him down, even though Machado, yes, only has 2 submissions. He does have good ground game, and he can keep you on the ground, and that's where he hasn't taken a lot of damage. But I think Brenson's going to find a way to get this done. I'm going to take the underdog, Brendson Ribeiro, and I'm going to say a 2nd round TKO.
I like it. That's and that's a good point too. I wasn't able to find anything on the weight prior, so your guess is as good as mine. I think that you're right. And I like that. I think we got a couple more finishes coming up on this one too, if I'm going to be honest. Matt, I do apologize. I was sleeping on the banners for our breakdowns. So the last 2 were, we are the stars of the show on that one. But I'm on it. Next one up, bada bing, bada boom. It is time for the 12 gauge. He's going to let us know about Derrick Lewis versus Jhonata Diniz.
As the name suggests, which way I'm going to go. Jhonata Diniz is 8-0 in his professional career. 2-0 in UFC going into this fight against number 11 ranked Derrick Lewis. Jhonata Diniz has won his first fight by knockout, second fight by decision. Does not have any takedown attempts. Doesn't have great wrestling. So that means he's going to stand in the middle with Derrick Lewis for 3 rounds potentially. If you haven't noticed, that doesn't work out well. Every time we think Derrick Lewis is washed, he's too old, he wins another fight by knockout. So I'm just gonna go full on experience, power, and he might score another takedown. You never know. I just don't think Diniz is ready to hop in. Yes, he's 8-0, but being your first test, being Derrick Lewis is never really a great thing. And I think best bet under 1.5 for sure. Because if he does win, he's gotta knock out Derrick Lewis. And I don't see that happening. I think I have Derrick Lewis by KO.
Yes.
And
yes.
just to add on to that, Derrick Lewis is a big underdog right now. He's at a plus 154.
And that is going to take us into the co-main event of the evening. We have women's flyweights. This one is going to be good. I like this one. We got Erin Blanchfield versus Rose Namajunas. Erin Blanchfield ranked number 3, Rose Namajunas ranked number 5 currently. The opening odds quite close. Erin Blanchfield at a 12-2. She's got 2 KO wins, 4 submission wins, 6 decision wins, coming off of a unanimous decision loss to Manon Fior back in March. Prior to that, she was, I believe, if I'm counting right, on a 9-fight win streak. And that was only her 2nd loss in her pro career. Quite impressive. Rose Namajunas, we know her. We love her all too well. 13-6, 2 KO wins, 5 submission wins, 6 decision wins, riding a 2-fight win streak, coming off of a unanimous decision win over Tracy Cortez. We are going to hit the round robin on this one. I'm going to start it off. Very rare that I like to start it off. The only reason I'm going to start it off is because I threw Thug Droz on out there, so I got to stand by it. The odds opened at, I believe Rose was at a plus 105. Yes, with Erin Blanchfield at a minus 125. Currently, Erin Blanchfield is sitting at a minus 155. Rose Namajunas at a plus 130. I like that just because I am going to go with Rose as my heart pick, not the smart pick. If I was betting smart, I would bet Erin Blanchfield. But for the sake of official pick, I will take it on my record. It's Thug Rose. She looked great in her last one. I thought it was going to be a lot closer, even though it was short notice for Tracy Cortez. Rose Namajunas did what she had to do. If I was going to say to bet on this one, I'm betting on a decision. I'm betting on it to go the distance. I don't see this one getting finished any which way. And I really hope Rose is able to get it done, because I don't want to see her, especially after what I just had to go through with Max Holloway and Robert Whittaker. I really don't want to see Thug Rose fall off either, but I'm not going to be surprised one bit. Let's take it counterclockwise to start on this one. Matt talks MMA. Let us know who you got.
All right, so I'm going to go with Erin Blanchfield. We've seen, who was it? Rose Namajunas get out-grappled before in the fight of the year against Carla Esparza. And she's also going up a weight class, isn't she, in this fight?
I don't know if you guys got that
fight
one.
Of the
I got
year.
you, Matt. I got
fight
you,
of
Matt.
the year.
That was great. Sorry, what was your question?
She's going up. Rose Namajunas, she's going up a weight class here, isn't she?
This
is her third fight. This is her third fight.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, no matter that, I'm still gonna go with Erin Blanchfield. She's on a pretty good. She does have the last fight is a loss, but before that, the last 4 submission wins. She's obviously pretty good on the ground, and I think that she's gonna be able to. She's gonna be the bigger person, that she's gonna be able to out-grapple Rose. And although she has the stand-up advantage, I don't think that it's mainly gonna be a stand-up fight.
I like it. I fully agree, unfortunately. Sean, you're up next, bud. What you got?
With this being a 3-round fight, you have to go with the power wrestler. As much as the last time Erin Blanchfield fought against Fiorot, I buried her with, like, what I always say with grapplers is, if you're great at wrestling and you're a power wrestler and a ground and pound type of guy or girl, learn to fucking throw a jab. And she didn't throw a jab. She just shot for takedowns from across the octagon and got stuff left and right. Now we know Fiorot is actually very legit, beating both of these girls in this fight that are fighting here. And I do think Fiorot ends up beating Valentina Shevchenko when that happens too. But back to this one. I think Erin Blanchfield's going to do enough, get enough takedowns, hold enough control, maybe get some shots in. The safest bet is by decision. It really is. Neither of these girls are going out. I don't think a submission's happening. I think it's just going to be maybe 2 rounds to 1, maybe Thug Rose wins a round, maybe the 3rd round. But 29-28, Erin Blanchfield.
Once again, no arguments. Gage, hit us with it.
Drew, I am once again dying on the shield with you one more time.
Let's go!
As we do. Sean kind of alluded to it. Erin Blanchfield looked terrible in that fight. Her last fight. Awful. And can't say Rose will have the same success defending the takedowns, but Rose is much better in the striking department. Can wrestle, has faced a lot of wrestlers just at a lower weight class, so I don't know how well it's going to translate. I'm just going to have hope she can keep the takedown loss rate to 20% at best. If she does that, she'll win. And yeah, safe bet. Fight to go the distance, but I have 29-28 Rose.
Let's effing go, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Upstairs versus downstairs again. Did not work out for us, but we're coming for you guys this time.
Yeah, I've been staying on the dogs recently.
Dude, if anybody who has been following along, you have been hitting if you are keeping up with the picks.
Yeah, but I was questioning my life and how much I really knew about the sport after last week. So what do I know? Really, what do I know?
We all were, man. We all were. That was, oh gosh, that was very rare, but it happens. It's bound to happen. It will happen again. Not this time though, because we are sweeping on this one. Can we get a thumbs up? Are we all unanimous on fight to go the distance? There you go. Count it. Put it on the board. Survey says fight to go the distance. And that is going to take us to the main event. This is going to be a sweet one. We got number 2 ranked Brandon Baby Assassin Moreno Vamos versus number 3 ranked flyweight Amir Albazi. I'm going to let you guys kick this one off. We'll hit the X on this one. Sean, are you good with starting this one off?
Yeah, I can start this off. Brandon Moreno, 21-8-2, 5 KOs, 11 submissions, 8-5-2 in the UFC. He's 5'7", 70-inch reach, 30 years old. 2 straight split decision losses against the highest level competition in the division. Amir Albazi, 17-1, 5 KOs, 9 submissions, 5-0 in the UFC. 5'5", 31 years old, 68-inch reach. And he just had a split decision win against Kai Kara-France, which some people think Kai Kara-France won that fight. It was very close. This is a weird fight because it really depends on which Brandon Moreno shows up. If it's the Brandon Moreno that showed up against Brandon Royval that last fight, like, it did not look like he was himself. I think Amir Albazi can win 3 rounds and win a decision here. But if the Brandon Moreno that shows up that's been the champion, that fights his ass off, the baby face assassin, like, if that one shows up, then I think he could handle Albazi very easily. This is a tough one to pick because it's really based off of Brandon Moreno more than Amir Albazi. I'm going to give the nod to Brandon Moreno. I think he will win 4 rounds to 1. I think he's going to still say, hey, I'm one of the top guys in this division. I'm not going to have a kind of lackluster performance, but you just never know. I do think over 3.5 rounds is the safest bet. I don't see a finish here. I do think these guys are both extremely well-rounded to make this fight go longer. You could even say going to decision, but to say over 3.5 rounds is probably the safest bet. So I'm going to have Brandon Moreno by decision.
Good call. I like that one. I like that one. Matt, you are on. Let me know what you got for this one, brother.
And I have to agree with Sean here. I'm going to go with Brandon Moreno by decision. I think Brandon Moreno is he has a underrated grappling, I would say. If you see the way he got up on against Figgy, I forgot what he did. I forgot what it was specifically, but I was just really impressed with his grappling that whole entire fight. Between the three fights between Figgy, and I do think that Figgy's probably the better grappler. Maybe not the better wrestler, but if he gets you on the ground, I think he's more likely to do something with it than Amir Albazi is. And I think Brandon Moreno's really going to show up this time. You know, we've seen it last time when a contender's on the rise with Kai France, and then he knocks him back down, and they got to work their way back up. I think we're going to see another case of this, and I would also say it's by decision.
Great stuff. That's a good point. Brandon Moreno against Figgy. Brandon Moreno surprised me more than a couple times in that. What was that? A quadrilogy?
Yeah, quadrilogy. Yeah, I forgot.
Ooh, I don't get to say that too often, man. I almost mush-mouth that one too. Gauge-a-miss. Hit us with it, brother.
I'm just going to keep the underdog spirit going, and fuck that. I got Brandon Moreno by decision. I think the grappling is too high level here for them to really work a submission against each other. And Brandon Moreno has shown he can strike and stand in front of some of the best strikers at 135. And Sean really said it the best. Didn't leave me much to work with because he kind of gave such a great outline on the fight. And Brandon Moreno, as a fighter, his last couple fights. The quadrilogy with Davison Figueiredo really brought out the best in Brandon Moreno. Those were great fights. He has not looked the same at all since. I hope the time off did him well and that he's going to come back strong and give the same types of performances. So I will 100% go Brandon Moreno by decision. And I'm going to go over 2.5 here for official pick. And I'm going to go official scorecard being 48-47. Unanimous.
Hey, it's an assassin baby party up in here, bro. I like it. I am definitely going with Brandon Moreno because I will never pick against Brandon Moreno, even if I should. I will eat that on the record all day, every day. Some things that I think are interesting too. I do think that Brandon Moreno's striking, I can't say that it's like underrated, but I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves for it. Striker, I say it all the time, but Mexican boxers, you can never count them out. They are the toughest mofos walking the planet. This is going to be an interesting one though, because the striking numbers actually somewhat even. We got 3.87 strikes landed per minute for Brandon Moreno, 2.8 for Albazi. Significant strikes landed, pretty close, 44% for Moreno, 39% for Albazi. Absorb per minute, they both absorb a little over 3 strikes per minute. The striking defense, though, on the side of Albazi, he has a 63% striking defense to Brandon Moreno's 59% striking defense. Grappling-wise, we're looking at a 1.7 takedowns per 15 minutes for both fighters. Takedown accuracy on the side of Moreno with a 46%. Takedown defense also on the side of Moreno. Albazi has a 40% takedown defense. Brandon Moreno with a 63% takedown defense. And submissions average per 15 minutes, less than 1 for both guys. So I do think that this one will remain majority on the feet. And I got to give the nod to Brandon Moreno on this one. The next order of business, gentlemen, the ever popular, ever elusive lock and dogs of the week. We have been absolutely slaying the locks and the dogs. We went, I believe, on the last 4 cards, we missed 1 lock and 1 dog. The last card that we had, all of our locks hit. Jeff Neal, Ankalaev, and Shara. All of our dogs lost. Whitaker and Holloway. So take it for what it's worth, but locks and dogs, we're doing pretty good. Some odds I will throw. You guys, if you have any you want to throw on out there, lock and dog, go right ahead.
Dog for sure being Derrick Lewis.
I agree. I think we
100%.
Yeah.
Sick. William Hill has him currently at a plus 145. I like that. Lewis, count it.
Yeah.
Count it, Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis by flying knee knockout. Put it on the board, baby. Put it on the board.
Go Derrick Lewis by takedown into ground and pound.
Jesus. You can't put anything by him. You can't.
He's gonna throw some crazy stuff, man. You know it's gonna happen, and it's bound to land. We've seen it. It's bound to land. So there you go. Official dog of the week, Derrick Lewis. As far as locks go, this is going to be a tough one because there's a lot of similar lines on this one. On the prelims, we do have Yusuf Zalal at a minus 270, Jasmine Jasuda Vicious at a minus 230. The other one of note, Cody Gibson at a minus 190. As far as the main card goes, we got Mike Malott at a minus 270, Andre Barriault at a minus 205. Erin Blanchfield ballooned up to a minus 155, and Brandon Moreno at a minus 165. I'm going to start it off with Moreno. I'm going to throw Moreno out there.
My lock pick, it's not an exact fighter, but I'm going to have to go with over 2.5 rounds on that Moreno-Albazi fight. I don't see it ending before that.
I like that. We'll count that. Do we have any other locks?
For sure, but I got to go Marc-Andre.
Solid, yeah. I figured he was coming in. Sean, where are you landing?
If I had to do fighter, I think I would go Marc-Andre. But decision in the co-main event is also, my opinion, is a lock. I just don't see a finish there whatsoever. 15 minutes for those two? No, I think that is the easiest. And I bet you that's like minus 500. I bet you it is. So that would be my absolute lock of the week. But if we're going fighters alone, Marc-Andre.
Very solid. Very good point. I might have to abort and jump on with you. No, I'm going to keep Moreno on it. But I am absolutely in favor of the decision for the co-main event. I'm 100% on board with that one. I'm going to do dual lock on that one because I think that's about as sure money as you're going to get. That's a lock if I have ever seen one. I dig that. Gentlemen, any final thoughts? Any last minute advice? Any last minute bets? Anything that we didn't cover that you guys want to throw out there? Anything that you're betting that's off the record?
I'm going to go with parlay with Derrick Lewis and then Moreno for over 2.5. I think I don't think his opponent got that much pop. You've seen his last fights. He went a full 3 rounds. I know Derrick has done the same, but this is like a tailor-made match for Derrick Lewis. I think he got it by KO.
That's a good one. I like it. The Brandon Moreno, Amir Albazi fight over 2.5. Blanchfield, Namajunas over whatever. And fight
Derrick
not to
Lewis
go
by
the
knockout.
For Derrick Lewis by KO. That's got to be plus money. It's got to be at least second in line because He's sitting at a
Derrick
plus
Lewis
145.
to win is plus money. Derrick Lewis by knockout.
It's got to be.
It's got to be plus 200.
At least.
Always worth throwing a 10 at Derrick Lewis plus 200 knockout.
And I would even go as far as to say sprinkle a little bit on Mike Malott to bounce back with a submission. Like I said, he is capable of dropping the ball later on if the fight goes on. Trevin Giles is very capable of winning a decision. So the later that fight goes, the more I'm leaning towards Trevin Giles on that one. But you got to figure Mike Malott's going to bounce back at some point. But I do like Malott and Barriault together. A minus 270 and a minus 205 will get you plus 104. So you're getting even money on that one. I like it. Good stuff, gentlemen. Good stuff. Any final words? Any final thoughts?
No, pretty much does it.
Yankees suck. Hoping for Derrick Lewis big bounce back to make me forget about the pain of last weekend.
Yeah.
we are. We're gonna.
Also, cherry on top. Jets and Giants also suck. Just very bad too.
New York, taking all the shots today. Taking all the shots.
Knicks also lost to Cleveland today. Just
Jesus Christ, New York fans are in ICU right now. This is rough.
Oh man, Knicks were the New York team that I was surprised the most by. I didn't think that they were gonna. I thought they were gonna be completely winless up to this point. So I thought that maybe I was gonna be wrong on them.
Bills are doing pretty good.
They surprised me. The next card that we got coming up on November 9th, I believe it is. We will be hitting that episode coming up here very soon. November 9th, it is Neil Magny versus Carlos Pratis. Like I said before, he is coming back. That's an exciting one. That one is also going to feature Cody Garbrandt versus Miles Johns, Carolina Kovalkiewicz versus Denise Gomes, Ricky Turcios, shout out to Kyle, Ricky Turcios versus Bernardo Sopage, Gerald Mearshart, Gage, versus Rainier de Ritter. And that one, if you guys are not sure who Rainier de Ritter is, he is the ONE FC championship champion that just got signed to the UFC. Him versus Gerald Mearshart is going to be very interesting. If you guys have not seen Rainier de Ritter, go look him up right now. That's going to be a solid fight. It's going to be a solid first fight for de Ritter. Mearshart is never a walk in the park. He's a dog and a half. And that's gonna be a good one. So make sure you guys are tuned in. Thank you so much to the boys in the house. I love you guys. Always great to party with you, talk some fights, talk some sports. Make sure you are subscribed to the Fight Pit on YouTube, House Call Sports on Instagram, the official Fight Pit, and all of our tags. I will have the graphics on there. Official picks, real quick. Ring. There we go. Log it, lock them, bet them, tail them, fade them. Do what you're gonna do. We are all hitting at every single one of us in the Fight Pit. We are hitting at over a 60% clip. Currently, Sean Ryan Sports is in the lead. He is the only one of us that is he's the only one of us that is just grazing the 70% mark right now, but we are all hot on his tail. We are all killing it. We are all just steadily moving back up.
Drew. I got killed last week.
Okay, besides the last two fights, we're
look at my bet slips for Saturday. It's depressing.
Red. Oh man!
Besides the last two fights, we did very well. I think our last one, I think it was the total picks for UFC 308. We were like 16-5 or so, and we nailed everything as far as the official picks up until the last two. But moving on.
I killed us on oral by losing.
That was That was a great fight, though.
Banger
It's worth
of a fight,
losing.
though.
It's worth
Yeah.
losing when it's one of those.
Didn't Rebecca come in like way overweight too? Or am I mistaken?
Someone missed weight. I don't know who it was. Someone did miss weight.
That's a
remember
good point. That's a good point. Hold on. I'll remember as soon as I see the name. It was Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo. I believe Farid Basharat weighed in at featherweight 145, and I think Victor Hugo had to make it a catch weight because Victor Hugo was like 10 pounds overweight or something like that.
Dude, did you even try?
No, he did. There's no way.
No.
Yeah. Hey, you know, I'm not the type to trash anybody, but bro, gotta make weight. Gotta make weight.
If you know you're tracking your weight the whole time, 10 pounds, you gotta say something ahead of time. Let the other dude try to rehydrate. Make it a catch.
You should lose a point for that. I swear, 10 pounds is crazy.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, there has been a trend of people just taking that 20% hit on their purse and just counting on getting the show and the win, which, depending on how much you're making, I guess it makes sense. But it's just that in the words of my 66-year-old father, it's pretty chicken shit. Pretty chicken shit. Farid, that was Gage's pick, I believe. Farid Basharat, yep. Gage nailed that one, even with the weight miss. So it ain't no thing. It ain't no thing. And we did have Renat, Ishmael, Farid, Kennedy. We lost on Bruno, lost on Rebecca. Had Jeff Neal, Aslan, Shara, Ankalaev, Dan Ige, and Holloway and Whitaker were the guys that we were going out on a limb for. And you know what? To be honest, I'll go out on a limb for Ige, Whitaker, and Holloway every single time. I am not ashamed.
Rarely see those guys plus money. You gotta take them when they're there.
I put a little bit on Bruno Ferreira, honestly. I thought he had it in the bag. He was looking good too in that second round right there.
Oh man, I thought that finish was coming, man. I was so stoked. I was so stoked. I thought that he was coming back on that one. Fantastic fights, though. Fantastic fights, though. We're going to keep the wins coming. You guys, make sure you are tuned in. Thank you so much to all of our subscribers, all the new subscribers. If you guys, real quick, if you're new, if you haven't been here very long, if you're not familiar with the official picks, the way that works, all of our official picks are all just the money line picks. Whatever fighter we pick straight up, that's the official picks. Then we have the over and unders, and then if we have a bet pick for the fight, we will let you know as the bet. Not required that we have a bet. Sometimes we have a fight where we got to make a pick, but we wouldn't necessarily recommend that you bet anything on it. So we'll let you know that. But anytime you see official picks, that's just money line. That's just whoever it is. The rounds, over and under, that's just how long it's going to go. And then bets, if we're going to bet it, we'll let you know. But that's it, gentlemen. I love you guys. I will see you back here again very soon for the next one. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will be here, and we will be waiting for you. Gentlemen, it's been real. I will catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.